Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshu Nam Hitarthaya Tattva Bodho Vidiyate. Tattva Bodha, the knowledge of essential self. This text is the initial text that a sadhak studies under the Guru in the Advaita Sampradaya. It is attributed to Adi Shankaracharya, and here in the beginning he talks about adhikaritvam. Adhikaritvam meaning the qualifications of a student. We have seen that he emphasized on the fourfold qualifications called Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi, Shatka, Sampati and Mumukshatva. And then he went on to the inquiry into the self. The next topic was Jiva Vichara. We are now studying the Jiva Vichara. We are in the concluding portion of Jiva Vichara. Then after Jiva Vichara, it goes into Ishvara Vichara. That we will see next. Or Jagat Vichara. Ishvara Vichara or Jagat Vichara. Jagat means world. Ishvara, the creator. So that would be the next inquiry. So go step by step. See, the idea here is that you are infinite. You are that happiness. You do not know that you are therefore thinking yourself to be this finite. And therefore, to become free, to gain that infinity, you don't have to do anything. You need to gain the knowledge of that infinity. You need to knowledge of the truth, the fact that you are infinite. Now that knowledge will only go in when you are prepared. If you are not ready, if you are not prepared, the knowledge will not go through into that person. Therefore, first he talks about the fourfold qualifications. To the extent you prepare yourself, to that extent this knowledge will go in, and that you realize the self. That's the idea. Therefore, there is tremendous emphasis on preparation. In fact, when a student is extremely prepared, just hearing a particular shloka or a mantra, some Guru Vakya pertaining to Atma, the student can liberate. Just hearing, because the student is so ready. So, when we talk about students, we say there are three types of students. One are like camphor. You strike the matchstick and take the fire closer to the camphor, it catches fire. The next student is like, so the student who is like camphor is so ready that even a little suggestion by the Guru, the student is able to liberate because the student is so well prepared. And then the next category of student is like charcoal. You take the fire to the charcoal, it doesn't catch fire immediately. You got to keep on fanning. So similarly, there are certain students who are prepared, but not so well prepared like the first category. So he needs a lot of explanations and he need to put in effort to reflect. Then he or she can liberate. The third category of student is like that stem in the banana tree. From that we, dry it and use it to tie the flowers to make a mala, garland. Now that doesn't catch fire at all. The stem of the banana tree. So some students are so tamasic, so preoccupied in the world, they cannot gain the knowledge at all. They need to do a lot of preparation. So some are extremely tamasic, some are extremely rajasic, some are sattvic, and even in sattva guna, some are highly sattvic. So to the extent you are sattvic, to that extent only you can gain the knowledge. This is what we need to understand. So, not everybody, even if they listen, can get liberated. Therefore, there is emphasis on this preparation. There is emphasis on this sadhana, qualification. That's why in Gurukula, even if a student has been educated in this knowledge by the Guru, because obviously the student has got some qualification, still the student has to go into the world, go into grahastha-ashrama. Majority of them go into grahastha-ashrama. And when they act in the world, the lot of likes and dislikes that are there within get slowly purified through karma yoga. Then they get refined through bhakti yoga. And a mind that is thus refined, in that mind, the jiva vichara, jagat vichara, inquiry into the individual and inquiry into the world can be done much better. And therefore they say, even though you've heard from the Guru, majority would have to go into grahastha-ashrama. Very few are qualified to go directly into sannyasa, because they have already attained purification and liberation. Purification and refinement. Therefore, even Jesus Christ says, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Only to the extent you are purified, to that extent jnana siddhi can happen. If you are in a hurry, jnana siddhi will not happen. So he talked about qualifications. Then he went on to jiva vichara. In jiva vichara, he first said, who is this Atma? For that question, he first negated what all is not Atma. What is not Atma? He said these three bodies, namely the gross, subtle and causal bodies, are not Atma. Then the three states of consciousness, the waking, dream and deep sleep, that is not Atma. So then, body, mind intellect is not Atma. The causal body is not Atma. The subtle body is not Atma. The gross body is not Atma. Then what about the three states of consciousness? Waking, dream, deep sleep. He said that also you are not. That also Atma is not, meaning that also you are not. In fact, you are the witness to all these three states of consciousness. So he negated the three states of consciousness, three bodies. Then the same three bodies are from a different angle analyzed as 5 sheets, pancha koshas. Annamaya kosha, food sheet. Manomaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, vital air sheet. Manomaya kosha, mental sheet. Vijnanamaya kosha, intellectual sheet. Anandamaya kosha, bliss sheet. He said, none of the sheets you are. You are beyond all this. So 3 plus 3 plus 5. 11 aspects he negated. And he said, see, you are referring to this body as body. You are referring to this mind as my mind. You are referring to this intellect as my intellect. Similarly, with reference to all the possessions, you are saying this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. So you are saying this body is also mine. If this body is yours, then you are different from the body. If mind is yours, then you are different from the mind. If this intellect is yours, you are different from the intellect. That which is beyond the body, mind, intellect, which is apart from it, is Atma. You are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect, you are none of this. Just like how you say, the bangle is mine, the necklace is mine, the earrings are mine. You are saying this body is also yours. They are only your instrument. It is given for using purpose. You got to use them. But unfortunately, due to ignorance, we think we are this body, we are this mind, we are this intellect. So then, okay, all this is clear. Then who am I? Who is this Atma? Atma tarhi kaha. Satchidananda Swarupaha. Now, I think in the last class, we discussed about Sat. Am I right? Anybody? We already had the discussion about Sat, isn't it? Sudarshan, can you tell? Excuse me. Anyone there? Nobody knows. Can you all hear me or not?
No, can hear you, certainly. I can't comment because last class I have attended is 14th February. I'm attending after a long time. 14th February was 5 sheets.
I think on 21st February, I did do the topic Sat. See, the problem is, whoever is attending, some of you who are regularly attending, because I'm doing so many classes now, I also probably need to note, so I'm using this iPad. So there I don't know how to note down. Maybe I'll have to note down in my notes. Now the thing is, if you're not going and studying, you will forget all whatever we are teaching, whatever we are discussing. So it's very difficult otherwise, because we would have covered few more chapters, then you'll be left behind. So please follow it up with daily study. Otherwise, it's difficult. Memory, I have done Sat. Anyway, Sat Kim. Kalatrayepi tishtatiti Sat. Kalatraya means at all three times. Past, present and future. Tishtati, that which exists. Iti, Sat, is called Sat. Kalatrayeti, trayepi, kalatrayepi, tishtati iti Sat. That which remains unchanged in the three periods of time, past, present and future, is existence. Why I am very clear that I did this is, when I did this shloka, I even refer to shloka number 12 of chapter 2. When chapter 2 of Srimad Bhagavad-gita. There, when Sri Krishna from 11 starts talking, verse number 11, chapter 2, he starts giving the knowledge. He says, wise people do not grieve for those who are gone and those who have come. And then he says, Tatvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadipaha. Never indeed was I not, nor you, nor these rulers of men. None of us will cease to be having been. This he gives there, quoted this. So he says to Arjuna, never indeed was I not. Was I not does not mean was, the I is referring to Krishna. I in any being never ceases to be. Never indeed was I not. None of us will cease to be hereafter. Not even these rulers of men, is what he's saying. When you are a small child, you say, I am a child. Then you say, I am a boy. I am a young man. I am a married man. I am a grown-up man. I am an old man. Child is different from boy. Boy is different from young man. Young man is different from married man. Married man is different from grown-up man. Grown-up man is different from old man. This body is constantly changing, but the I continues to be the same. Similarly, now in the waking state, you declare, I am the waker. I am Arun Segal, the waker. Then you go to dream. Then you say, I am the dreamer. Then you go into deep sleep. There you are there as a deep sleeper. When you come out of the deep sleep, you declare that I was in deep sleep. I was a deep sleeper. So the waker is different from the dreamer. Dreamer is different from the deep sleeper. But the I continues to be the same. Continues in all these three states. So I was, I is, I will be. That I never ceases to be. So that I is what is of the nature of existence. Now he's talking Swarupa Lakshana. What is its essential nature? What is the essential nature of Atma? The essential nature of Atma means what is the essential nature? It's not like we are discussing about Atma, which is something that needs to be discussed. Like how we come to know of, the minerals, vitamins, etc. We should also come to know of Atma. No. When we say Atma, it is the very subject. It is who my real self is. The discussion is about me. So I am existence, that which exists at all periods of time. It's completely different from my present experience. My present experience is I am identified with this body. Therefore, I think I've come into existence when I was born, and I will leave this existence when I die. So I'm constantly afraid. I'm caught up in fear. And every change is frightening me, upsetting me. I'm going through all this. And I want to not be upset. I don't want to be afraid. I don't want to be in stress. And that is only possible when you know your true nature. So there is a wrong understanding about ourselves. This wrong understanding has to be corrected. Unless the wrong understanding is corrected and the right understanding is blossoming, it's impossible to become free from sorrow. All our efforts in life is to become free from sorrow and be established in happiness forever. And that is only possible when we understand our true nature. That's what the Shastras are saying. That's why it's important to know who am I. So he says, what is Atma Satchidananda Swarupa? Then Sakim Kalatrayepi Tishtatiti Sat. That which exists in the past, existed in the past, exists now, will continue to exist in future, is called Sat. So I am that changeless aspect, not this changing phenomenon. I am birthless, ajanma, beyond janma. I am deathless. I am amara. Mara means death. Amara. Mritya, amrityam. So I am amritya, not one who goes through mritya, death. I am beginningless, anadi. I am endless, ananta. I continue. I have no death. And then, see, these are all for us to understand and reflect, continuously meditate. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Listen, reflect, and meditate upon it. Till the wrong understanding leaves, till all the doubts go, and the right understanding blossoms. Till then, we have to continue the sadhana. So, if I say I am this body has a form and which has been given the name. It undergoes birth, death, and change and all that. But I am not this body. I am that which always exists. That means what? I am changeless and I have no name. I have no name also. Strictly speaking, I am Anami. Now, if somebody asks you, what's your name? Now I say Lakshmi Narayan. Obviously, I should say that. Because obviously, they are also talking from that level. My reply also should be from that level. But strictly speaking, how I should understand, I am having no name, no form. Anami, and I have no vikara, nirvikara. And I have no gunas, no qualities. Now the problem is, this Satchit Ananda, when we discuss, there is a possible misunderstanding. What is that possible misunderstanding? I may think about this existence, consciousness, bliss, Satchit Ananda as my qualities. They are not qualities. They are describing me. They are telling, who am I? You understand? See, take the example of rope and snake. A rope that is 5 feet long, 3 inches thick, black in color, coiled, is not understood correctly and misunderstood as a snake. Now, snake is also 5 feet long, black in color, 3 inches thick, coiled. Now, what are the properties of the rope? The property of the rope is what? 5 feet long, 3 inches thick, black in color, coiled. Now, if the rope says, I am 5 feet long, it's talking about the qualities. I am 3 inches thick, quality. Black in color, quality. Now, if the rope is saying, I am rope, it's not talking about the qualities. It is describing itself. It's called Swarupa Lakshanam. So, existence, consciousness, bliss are not to be understood as the attributes of Brahman. Attributes of Atma. It should be understood as me. I am that existence principle. You understand? I am that existence principle, that isness. I gave this example also when we discussed this. There is tree. Everything exists in this world that we are experiencing. We are talking about unknown from the known only. So what is known to us? This world and this body, mind, intellect. This is existing. Right? Now, that's why I took the example of the tree. The tree is existing, just like how this body, mind, intellect is existing. Now, what happens to the tree? When it is cut, it becomes logs. So you say, tree is, then when the tree's form is destroyed, you say log is, or logs are. Then you make a table of the logs, and you say table is. Then you burn the table. It's reduced into ashes. You say ashes. Now, the form and the name are going on changing. Tree, form, name changes. Log, and then to table, and then to ash. But the isness continues. That isness, which never perishes, which always exists, is you, me, all of us, essentially. What is it? Satchit Ananda Swarupa. In that, first he says, this is Sat. Then he takes up Chit. Chit Kim Jnana Swarupaha. Chit Kim Jnana Swarupaha. What is consciousness? It is of the nature of absolute knowledge. See, what Swamiji does is, whenever he talks about Atma from the point of view of existence, consciousness, bliss, he uses the word absolute before them. Absolute existence, absolute consciousness, absolute bliss. Why? Now, in the world that we are experiencing now, there are beings and objects. The objects merely exist. The beings exist and go through consciousness and bliss, isn't it? We go through awareness and bliss, apart from existing. But this existence of the beings are not absolute. This existence of the beings, of the objects, are relative. Similarly, the consciousness is relative. The bliss is relative. So this is what? Relative existence, consciousness, bliss. Then what is Atma? Absolute existence, consciousness, bliss. So you have to put the word absolute. Means it is always existent, it's always conscious, it is always bliss. It's not a condition that keeps changing. So he says, what is Chit? What is this consciousness? Jnana Swarupaha. If somebody asks you, are you inert or are you sentient? Would you have any doubt? We'll all declare, I am sentient. I am not inert. I am aware of objects and beings. I am experiencing objects and beings. These objects and beings are the experienced. I am the subject. They are the object. I am the experiencer. They are experienced. I am the subject. They are the object. All our experiences are subject-object relationship. Now, when you experience the object, you say, I am the knower of the object. When the objects are contacted by our senses and mind, I become the knower. I become the knower. The known object and the knower come together. You understand? I become the knower of the objects known. Now, if the known objects are removed, simultaneously there is no knower. Or you can say, still the knower is there, knower of nothing. So that nothing is the object here, like in the deep sleep. You understand? So I am always conscious of something or conscious of nothing. To be conscious, there has to be something, or at least nothing should be there. That nothingness as an object should be there, like in deep sleep. So, I am conscious of my knowledge. I am conscious of my ignorance, both. I am conscious of what all I know. I am conscious of what I don't know. So that consciousness, which is always existing, so that existence principle that we studied and the consciousness are not different. They are one and the same. This consciousness, Jnana Swarupa, always exists. Always exists. Now, that consciousness is aware of what you know, is aware of what you don't know. It's aware of your knowledge, it's aware of your ignorance. That consciousness is Atma, he says. That is on the known and the knower who is relative. It is the absolute knower. That consciousness is the absolute knower. So therefore, what he's saying here is, who this sentient being is only the reflected consciousness, but you are actually the absolute pure consciousness. That's your original nature. It remains at all periods of time. Now, does this require any other consciousness to enliven it? Now, for example, if I ask you, how do you know this world? During the daytime through the sun, during the night through the moon, indirect sunlight. Okay. How do you come to know of the sun and the moon? Through my eyes. Okay, good. How do you come to know of the, how does the eye get the power to see the sun and the moon? Through the mind. How does the mind get the power to see through the eyes? I am even aware of my mind. I am even aware of my mind. Later on, he's going to talk about mind. He's going to say, Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam Manaha. Vikalpa means doubting. Sankalpa means clear. His mind keeps on moving from doubt to clarity, doubt to clarity. His mind. Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam Manaha. I am aware, na? So I am not, the mind doesn't get the power to see. Mind by itself is insentient. It gets the power through the consciousness to see through the eyes. Later, we're going to discuss about how the mind is made up of. Mind is also made up of the same matter with which this body is made. Only difference is the body is made of gross matter, mind is made of subtle matter. So that is also matter, jadam. Thoughts are also jadam. So that mind gets the ability to see through the eyes, the sun, moon, and the world because of that consciousness, the subject. So that consciousness is the light of all lights. It doesn't require another light. It is self-illumining, self-evident, self-illumining. You understand? Sun is the primary source of light in this world. Sun is the primary source of light in this world. Does sun require another light to know about itself? Sun is light. Even if there is darkness, and if sun goes there, darkness goes away. Sun is light. It doesn't require another light. Similarly, the consciousness within is what? Self-illumining. It doesn't require another light. This is your nature, my nature, everybody's nature. It is self-illumining. You don't need any other light. We give this example always. When you wake up in the morning, you don't ask somebody else, do you think I've woken up? Because you know you are woken up. You don't need another light to confirm consciousness. You don't need another person to confirm that you're woken up. You wake up, you know that you're woken up, and you know who all are woken up also. But more importantly, here in the context, I know that I'm awake. So, Atma is self-illumining. Consciousness is self-illumining. See, this concept we discuss because when we say, due to the ignorance of the self, you have assumed yourself to be Lakshmi Narayan, this body, mind, intellect complex. So now the question comes, who is ignorant? Who is ignorant? The body, mind, intellect are ignorant. They are jada. There is no point talking about ignorance with reference to them. Then Atma is consciousness, Chit Swarupa. Is it ignorant? It can never be ignorant because its original nature itself is consciousness, knowledge, awareness. How can it be ignorant? Then who is ignorant? Then who is ignorant? What is the answer? Anybody? Who is ignorant? What is the answer? Nobody is answering. I am going to keep quiet if I don't get any answer. Who is ignorant? Rajivji, who is ignorant? If Atma is not ignorant, body, mind, intellect, there is no point talking about ignorance with reference to that. Who is ignorant?
I am conscious of my ignorance.
Who is ignorant? Vanita, the reflected consciousness is ignorant. This jiva is ignorant. Remember this. Atma, see, this is a confusion a lot of people have. Therefore, I am clarifying it here. Atma is never ignorant. It is always conscious. How can it become ignorant? You understand? Atma is never forgotten itself. Atma never forgets itself. When Atma is reflecting through this body, mind, intellect complex, we, the jiva, the reflected consciousness, which has been given the name Vanita in the waking state, that Vanita, that reflected consciousness is ignorant. Make this note. Be clear about this. So, therefore, what is consciousness? That which is always shining, ever shining consciousness. That which is always shining, that is Atma. That is consciousness. It is Jnana Swarupa. And it is Sat, which exists at all periods of time. So what Vedanta wants to say is, see, this is the fundamental difference between Vedanta and science. This is where the problem comes. Science says everything is nothing but atoms. And atoms, when they come in a particular arrangement, it has become the beings, and depending upon what beings it has become, the level of awareness is high or low. So in the human being, level of awareness is very high. So what science is saying is atoms, the matter, which has come in a certain arrangement and has become this human being, or any being, we are taking the example of human being, and strangely, in a particular arrangement, these atoms seems to be conscious. So therefore, some people conclude that consciousness is part of matter, is the product of matter. You understand? Therefore, they conclude that consciousness is part of matter that manifests in a particular arrangement, or it is a product of the matter which manifests in a particular arrangement, or it's the property of the matter that manifests in a particular arrangement. Vedanta says completely different. In fact, even though I said, whenever we talk about existence, consciousness, bliss, as the nature of Atma, we use the word absolute. Absolute existence, absolute consciousness, absolute bliss. And I also said that is its nature, they are not qualities. It is discussed. Even though I said that, still, even when we say consciousness is your nature, Atma, original nature, your original nature is consciousness, we should not take this as a description. Because if we take this as a description, then we are saying that consciousness is the description of Atma, and who is describing it? The intellect. Intellect is part of Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body. Is it finite or infinite? Finite. Consciousness, is it finite or infinite? Infinite. Why? Consciousness is that which always exists. Form of a body which has a beginning and end doesn't have existence always. So form will go through change. So that means consciousness is not a form. It's formless. It is beginningless. It is endless. This existence, it always is. It never goes through death. It never perishes. It is not perishable. It is imperishable. Always exists. That is the consciousness. So it is infinite. Intellect is finite. How can the finite describe the infinite? So therefore, we say absolute consciousness, absolute existence, absolute bliss is the description. Technically, we should say even this is not a description. This is only an indicator, pointer. So which means what? You have to dwell upon this pointer after going through sufficient purification. Then at one point you drop all the vasanas. Then what will remain is consciousness. The consciousness will know consciousness. Arun Sehgal cannot know the consciousness. Rajiv Sharath cannot know the consciousness. Vanita cannot know the consciousness. Sukumar cannot know the consciousness. Lakshmi Narayan cannot know the consciousness. When Lakshmi Narayan dissolves, the ego completely dissolves. What remains is consciousness. So we can't say consciousness, absolute consciousness is the description of Atma. Can't say it's a description, it's a pointer from that end. Please understand. Therefore, otherwise you will think, oh, I have now understood Atma. Understood Atma means you think you've captured the Atma in the camera of your intellect. How stupid it is. Can the camera capture the world? It cannot. Impossible. How much ever you zoom, can you catch the whole world? Not possible. You can say, I'll go beyond and then capture the earth. That's not the whole world. It's impossible. So therefore, intellect cannot understand Atma. That's the difficulty the gurus are having. In spite of it, they are taking us there. So next question is, you said Sat Chit Ananda, Sat Kaha, Sat Kim, discussion over. Chit Kim, discussion over. Now Ananda Kaha. What is Ananda? The Guru says, Sukha Swarupaha. Sukha Swarupaha Ananda. Ananda is Sukha Swarupa. What is this Ananda? Ananda means the nature of happiness, absolute happiness. It is of the nature of absolute happiness. Now, he said Atma is of absolute happiness. Now, how do we understand this? Now, this word Ananda sometimes is used as Ananta also. When they talk about the Swarupa of Atma, here Satchit Anandam is what is said. But in some places you will see Ananta, not Anandam. You understand? So, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, they say. Ananta, you understand? Infinite. I already explained to you why we say it is infinite. It is something that is not restricted to the form, which has no beginning, no end. It is infinite. Now, when you say Ananda is your original nature, it is the nature of Atma, the absolute happiness. Always Swamiji gives this example. We might have gotten bored with that example, but still it drives home the point. You take a coil spring of 5 feet height. You compress it to 1 foot. What happens? There is pressure on the palm. Release it to 3 feet. The pressure reduces, but still the pressure is there. You release it to 5 feet, no more pressure. Why? Because it's reached its original height. And in all of us, there is pressure to reach happiness. And what kind of happiness we want to reach? We want to achieve happiness that is uninterrupted, unintercepted. The happiness that we experience while we contact the so-called object of pleasure only stays for a while. It is again interrupted by dukkha, sorrow. It is intercepted by sorrow. So that Ananda is not satisfies. There are again falling into sorrow, sadness. So therefore, that is not the Ananda he is referring to. The Ananda, happiness that we are looking for, is uninterrupted, unintercepted happiness. So Vedanta says, the fact that you're constantly searching for happiness until you reach that happiness, which is uninterrupted, unintercepted, you will not rest content. That's your original nature. Just like how till a coil spring reaches its original height, it is never content. There is pressure always. Similarly, till you reach that happiness, which is uninterrupted, unintercepted, you will not rest content. That is because that's your original nature. Also, anything normal is not a matter of complaint. Anything abnormal is a matter of complaint. So, you complain when you are sad, or do you complain when you are happy? You complain when you are sad, sorrow. You never complain about happiness. You don't knock the doors of other people. You don't call people and say, I'm sad now. Sorry, I'm happy now. Please do something. Because that's your normal state. That's your original state. So when you fall into sorrow, you complain. You want to get rid of that sorrow. You don't want to get rid of happiness. Why? Because that's your original nature. So that is my self. Sat Chit Ananda Swarupam. Now, till now, the discussion about Jiva is over. Jiva, inquiry on the individual. Jiva Vichara is over. Next, the discussion will move to Jagat Vichara. We will get into the Jagat Vichara from next week. So far, what we have completed, the qualifications, Adhikaratvam, and then Jiva Vichara. Next week, we will start Jagat Vichara. Let's conclude now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.